women filmmakers and queer filmmakers and freaks that want to do weird things like that. And so I don't know. I think the journey of it, you know, I write every day, and so there's that process, and it's such a lonely process. And then the best thing is when you get to meet the people that will actually make this a real thing, and all of these wonderful people made it real, and Io and I would go back and forth on things, and you know, I'm texting John weird references, and so I don't know, I think that those conversations is when it really, the story became what it is, and then we went and shot it, and edited for probably too long, and here we are.
And with such an outstanding cast too, what was that? What was the casting process like to get all these wonderful people involved?
Man, it's the most fun thing. I did a thing you're not supposed to do. Lionel Boyce is a good friend of mine. He's here tonight. Very talented actor, the Bear. Al from Marcus. And so I was working at GQ, and Lionel's in the show, The Bear. So I wanted to see it. And they sent me screeners early. And so I had known Io through Lionel, and I always thought she was really cool, but I had never seen her in anything. And so then I watched the show, and I was like, holy shit, this is Ariel, and I, freaked out. And the thing I wasn't supposed to do is I mailed it to our exec at A24, which you're not supposed to do. And I was like, this is her, that's all the note said. And then the show came out, and then everyone was like, this is her. Which was really cool. And then and then John and I sat down, and I won't tell a story, but he and I really figured it out. He was in Riga, Latvia, directing a play in Latvian, as John does. And we spent a few days together in Riga, real casual. And I don't know, it's like we spent 3 days together, and it felt like we had it figured out. And Murray Bartlett was going to go visit his mother, and I talked him out of that. Sorry, Mama Bartlett. I've known Stephanie for a long time. Tatanka, we had the best experience shooting in Mexico, and the Pewaukee Nation, so supportive of the film. And Tatanka's the most handsome human being on the planet. It's very easy to cast. And Juliette Lewis is fucking Juliette Lewis.
Any questions? Yeah, right there. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hey, so some of you guys, or all you guys have been in some really, really great stuff, and I just want to know from you guys, what in your own personal opinion makes great acting?
Y'all know.
I feel John or Juliet. Sorry. Check 1, check 2, 2, 2. First of all, you guys are so beautiful. Thank you. This is the closer, is it not? I mean, I've been here for a week. This has been such a remarkable experience. It's not closer. It's not closer at all. And what makes great acting? Transcendence. Reaching for the stars. I don't know. Channeling. I like to channel with fairies. That's how I do it.
How about right down here? Yeah. It's about the music and how the collaborators got involved.
The long story short is there's a woman here, Sarah Newkirk. Raise your hand, Sarah. Don't be back there. Known Sarah for a long time, and Sarah's one of those people where I was like, man, I really want Nile Rodgers in the dream to do this. And she's a problem solver, so she's like, all right, but what if we did this? And I'm like, no, I really want Nile Rodgers in the dream. She's like, all right, one last time. And then the second she was like, this is it, we just chased them. And the coolest thing was like, there was a period where, if you don't know, Nile Rodgers made like a version and Let's Dance. David Bowie plays the guitar Get Lucky, just very casual, and Dream made Umbrella. And there was a moment where they were in the studio with Beyonce, and then in the studio with John, and then in the studio with Beyonce, and then in the studio with John, working on these songs, and which John belongs next to Beyonce, is how I feel. And that process was really, really fun. Another thing I really give a ton of credit to A24 for, because you have to unlock the budget of the film. I insisted that the first thing John do is perform these songs. And so we had to go and record them, which means you have to pay all these people and pay for, John to get there and all the things before you go into pre-production, which is a little nerdy, but we all love films. That's the hardest thing. A film is the most fragile right before everybody gets on the plane, and then when you get on the plane, they spend so much money. They're like, you got to come back with a movie, so and so that was so important to me that the first thing he do is, put those shoes on, go in that studio, and be him. And they supported that, and he came in fearless. And there was 15 minutes in, it was kind of awkward at first. And then John hit a note, and everybody in the studio looked at each other and started to nod, and Niall got all excited, and he killed it. Don't you think he killed it?
Yeah, in the black right there? Yeah, you. Uh-huh. What were the reactions to the death scenes when they first read the script?
Stephanie, take that. You have the tough death.
I was actually really thrilled about my death scene. I thought it was so cool, and to get to do that type of prosthetics, and we had a great, JQ, you're here somewhere. There she is.
Ow, the legendary JQ.
Incredible. We sat in the chair for 6 hours, and only for 2 days, so it really wasn't that bad. But we had a great time.
Stop.
The test. Oh, the test.
So
yeah, the test.
Stephanie
it was fine.
she was blind
I
for
was blind
days.
for 2 days, essentially.
JQ was testing stuff like on herself,
It was that bad.
on other people. It was crazy.
It was that bad.
It was crazy.
But it was cool, because when do you ever get to do that? And also shout out to the PAs that walked me to the bathroom and helped me out. Because that was really interesting. But yeah, I loved my death scene. That was what drew me to it. I was like, oh my god, please let me do this. It's so sick.
Yeah, I guess something similar. You read these scenes, you're like, wow, how cool to get a chance to do scenes like this, with this wonderful group of people. So you never, I feel like it's kind of hard to pull those scenes off. So there's some sort of trepidation in it, because you want it to feel real and in the context of this sort of wonderful type of film. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. I don't know. I don't only get excited by death scenes, but scenes that are kind of a challenge and kind of, I don't know. Yeah, you don't get to do that kind of stuff in real life. We get to do it in our jobs. So that's kind of awesome.
They make me sad. I have died many times on camera. They make me sad.
And the red?
Yeah, the first one's called, the religious research was some of the least fun part of it. I wrote a 310-page text, the meditation's a level, that existed. I wanted to just have it figured out, and feel like it came from a real place. The Shakers, not to call them a cult or a religion, they are a religion or belief or whatever, but they believed in craft, and I thought that they were really kind of inspiring in this, and wish there was more information and documentaries about them. The other question is Moretti an inspiration about one person? No, you know, like, we looked at so many influences. Prince is an influence in everything that I do. If I'm eating a sandwich, I'm like, how would Prince eat this sandwich? So there's that, but then, you know, like Alice Cooper and David Bowie, so many people, but also we never wanted him to feel like a one-for-one copy. One of the funniest days, I used to be a writer and editor at GQ, and Will Welsh, who's here tonight, it's like my big brother, I was in a meeting like a weekend, and it's a big like cover pitch meeting, and everybody's talking about Bruce Springsteen, and I had never heard of Bruce Springsteen, and I had no clue what they were talking about. And so we were leaving the meeting, and everybody's so excited about this person. And so Will's the one person I felt close enough to ask, and I'm like, hey, so who's Bruce Springsteen? And he told me who he was and what he meant to people before we got to the next meeting. And I felt like that was our job with him already. Like, for you to believe this is the biggest pop star, but somehow you've never heard of him. But before we get on the bus, you understand what he means to people. And that is really easy to do with incredible actors. We shot this in 19 days. You can't do that without, yeah. I know this is not the question, but I just want to say, like, incredible crew, all those people that stood up, but also, like, these guys, the preparation. John practiced the humping. We practiced that many times. That is not freestyle humping. One of the most amazing things about Io is her first take is always very good. And she doesn't need to find it. She shows up fucking ready.